all these negative things about himself or admit all these things that he did, but it had a purpose. He was really convincing the king that a man who would admit doing such horrible things in his former life, ideally, wouldn't be lying about anything else. So it kind of, it kind of gave the king some pause and some pause for thought. And I didn't read further to see what happened after that, but I think there was some more situations that Paul had to go through to go through more trials and tribulations until I think he was ultimately put in prison. So I think that's kind of where this lesson started and ended. And a couple of things I saw in the conclusions I was wanting to say is that it said believers who are once enemies toward God, like Paul, they were once enemies, but they turned towards God. And they said that God deserves reconciliation, not victory. So like debates, you look for a victory, but with God, he looks not just for the victory, but he looks for the reconciliation, and so should we.
Sometimes the victory is reconciliation.
Amen. Amen.
Not so much
one or the other.
But one of the things that I liked about this text is it's kind of it's a template for us.
Mm-hmm.
Because, like you said in the beginning, there's two things that he does in these 11 verses that I see. Is one, he establishes a rapport.
He did, right at the very beginning.
At the very beginning,
putting his hand up.
This is how. I used to be right there with you.
Mm-hmm.
I was doing the same things. I understand how you feel.
Right.
I was there. In fact, I was ahead of y'all because I was doing more. I was doing this. And I was doing that. But he also, if you're a salesman, a lot of times what you have to do is what we call MIMS,
Mm-hmm.
which is MIMS, or make it make sense.
Okay.
And that's what he seems to be doing as he goes into after making that rapport with people.
Mm-hmm.
Now he's like, what I'm telling you is true and reasonable.
Right.
He's not saying this is something off the wall here that's just crazy, even though the guy says your learning is driving you insane.
Mm-hmm.
He says this is reasonable. This is what everybody's been hoping for the longest, and now that it's here, I'm trying to get you to see what it is.
Mm-hmm.
And the only reason I'm sitting here right now is because nobody has understood what we're trying to do. And so, a lot of times when we speak to people about Jesus, sometimes we don't establish that rapport.
Mm.
Sometimes we're not even capable of making it make sense.
Right.
And at the end of the chapter, he had gone that far away. They walked away and they were like, this guy was making perfect sense. He hadn't done anything worthy of death or imprisonment, and if he hadn't appealed to Caesar, he could be free right now.
Right.
So you can tell he's already made it make sense to them because
Mm-hmm.
they understood enough to know that whatever he was being accused of obviously wasn't quite the case.
Wasn't the case.
The charges had, the prosecutors had oversold
Mm-hmm.
their case a little bit, had overreached, as we would say in today's legal language.
Right.
But if we do the same things when we're, listen, brother, I was in the streets, I was doing some of the same things, just like we talked about yesterday at the funeral with
Hey, Brother Reddick. Mm-hmm.
well, used to drink, used to do this, used to whatever. But now when he came to the realization that there was a light there, and it made sense.
It does.
It wasn't a screwy thing to do. It was like this is reasonable. Why haven't the rest of us done
Mm-hmm.
this? That would be the reconciliation that you're talking about. We can bring them to that point. It's not that I out-argue you, because you'll never argue somebody into the kingdom.
Right.
But you'll show them, you'll be able to take them by the hand and say, listen, this is how we all get there together.
That's a great point, because if you can, kind of like you say, have people understand that you went through the same thing. And I think we do that a lot when we kind of tell people that, oh yeah, I wasn't always a deacon. I used to be a sailor, and I did a lot of those things, but I came around. I learned from talking to others and kind of just going through some things. And when people hear that, like you said, they just kind of say, well, that does make sense, because I went through a very similar process, so I'm going through that process. And like you said, maybe they'll come to a similar conclusion or a like conclusion where they may see God as well, like we do.
Sometimes we present ourselves like we've always been
Yeah, no, it's not the
Always
case.
been Sundays. We've always done all that. I can recall quite a few
Right.
times where
Hmm.
I was places that I would not be now.
Right. And I always felt like my grandmother and my parents, they always, prayed for me because I was in some of those places, and I look back and, I wonder how I made it through, but I always had that grandmother or parent, praying for me. And now I do the same thing. I pray for my children and grandchildren. So if they get in some, bad situations, hopefully my prayers will help them get through it.
Think about all those experiences and everything you think about
It
it before where you are now. It made you who you are now.
is. It does. It does. It's a learning process, and I think we learn for the rest of our lives, basically.
God orders your steps, and sometimes He orders your missteps too.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
That's why in my prayers I say, "Watch my steps. I
Right.
will keep a stop and stumbling,
Mhm.
continue forward motion."
That's true. That's true. So, any other questions, comments? Pastor, I see you want to say something. I see it on your face.